Hello, Michelle.
Hi, how are you?
I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Sarai Maneti. I'm a student at Zimbabwe Open University studying a master's in inclusive and special education.
Mhm.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity and giving yourself time to participate. I
I'm
appreciate
honored.
that very much.
Thank you.
So I have a few demographic information I would like from you.
Okay,
If you don't feel comfortable about answering anything,
sure.
please tell me.
I'll let you know.
Okay. Okay, so I'll start by asking your gender. What is your gender?
I identify as female.
Okay. And your age range?
My age range is between the ages of 30 and 35.
Okay, and then if you're not ready to answer the next part, I understand that very much.
Yeah,
What is your highest level of education?
I've got a bachelor's degree from the University of Cape Town.
Mhm. Okay, what exactly did you study? If you
I
want to
did
tell us.
sociology and social development.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is your current teaching position and the subject that you're teaching at this institution?
I am a history and psychology teacher in the senior department.
Okay. So, and how many years have you been working with the children with disabilities, whether neurodiverse, those with mobility disability, or sensory ones?
Yeah, it's been about, this year is actually my 10th year.
Oh, that's a long time. Since you have so much experience, right?
Yes, so
Yeah.
many different children, different days, different
Mhm.
hours.
Mhm.
Quite interesting.
That's really good. You have quite a vast experience.
Yeah.
I'll have to come to you for some tips and
Okay.
information.
You learn from each other.
Yes, we do. We do. Okay. So, my topic is on how the social model of disability,
Mhm.
how far has it gone in removing stigmatization
Mhm.
from learners that have special abilities?
Yeah.
They have special abilities and they are born different.
Yes.
Yes. And most people actually don't understand how they should be integrated into
Yeah.
our communities
Yeah.
so that they have the same lifestyle experiences that every other child is having.
Yeah.
So my interest is knowing how this social model of disability, the model of disability,
Mhm.
has helped in reducing stigma
Yeah.
for those with special needs.
Yeah.
So, from your experience, what societal attitudes or cultural beliefs about people with disabilities you observe that negatively affects your learners?
Okay. So I think the first one is from the families. Okay. There's a lot of denial. I think that's one of the biggest issues we've ever faced.
That's right.
And it's one of the things that we celebrate when a parent actually goes together and their touch. It's the very first step.
Yes.
Because as a mother, and I am a mom as well,
Yes.
there are certain things that if you start noticing your child is doing very different from another child, or you know what the stages of development are and your child is not reaching those milestones,
Mhm.
you get a bit concerned.
Yes, as a mom.
As a mom. And we come from, we are in Zimbabwe, so community is always in our faces.
Yes, yes, they
You've
are.
got the grandmothers, you've got the aunts, you've got the church. There's so many people involved, and everyone has an opinion.
Yes, they do.
They have
And they are
an opinion.
entitled to their
They're
opinion.
entitled to their opinion.
Yes.
And so I've noticed the biggest issue that we've ever dealt with was the issue of denial, making the first step to find out what is it that I'm actually doing. And then the second thing, of course, is bringing everyone to the table to say, this is what we're doing. And how best can we support the child to
Yes.
have the lifestyle that you were describing earlier that is almost similar or at least close to what a neurotypical child would experience.
So these challenges actually start from when the child is born.
The child is
The
born.
internal
There's the internal
support.
part, there's a
Yes.
family structure that's saying, oh, no, something is with this.
Okay.
How do you best come forward to support the child? The
Okay.
denial part can even go in different ways. We've had scenarios where the religious part of it, some people try and pray it away. They don't understand what it's saying.
Exorcism.
They want to do an exorcism. There's a demon that's in my child that
Okay.
needs to be exorcised. You sometimes even get the traditional aspect of it where some will say, I know this herb that will help make sure
Yeah,
that
it
this
could be
thing goes away,
self-sufficient.
and all of these things. I've seen marriages break down. It's
That's a very sad part.
it's very difficult because what the woman is experiencing and what the father is experiencing is two different. So sometimes you will get the man who will say, maybe this is not my child.
Yeah, exactly.
This is someone else's
And they
picture.
move out of the
This is
house.
not from my family. This is not from my side. Especially when it's the first time for everybody.
Yes.
It's different when it's a genetic thing and there's an expectation that maybe it could go a certain way. But when it's not, those conversations are hard.
Mhm. They hit quite hard, isn't it?
It's very, very hard.
Okay. And then, what specific school-based barriers make it difficult for learners of special ability to be fully included? From what you've observed from the places you've been.
I think it's the mindset. I think it is the mindset. I was discussing with my class earlier that when we were growing up, life was very different. It was very community based. But I think life has become very fast paced for everybody. It's very individualized now. There is a Western concept of me, myself, and I, what I'm doing with my house, And with all the challenges that we're facing as well in the country economically, people are too busy. So our school has done so many workshops, but the turnout varies. Sometimes people come, sometimes people don't. And this is to help your child. But sometimes it's not that they don't want to be there. If they don't have the time
to attend, yes.
Because you're chasing all these kinds of things. People forget that, when you're dealing with neurodiverse children, it's very expensive.
Quite expensive. Yes.
You've got, maybe they don't eat certain things. So now you have to go into gluten free or sensory something. And all of these things that are involved in their diet. You see the doctors more often.
Quite often.
More often.
Yes.
And so that lifestyle is very expensive. So you have to constantly be working to meet
those needs.
And then now also you're probably adding on a marriage counselor because you and us also need time to figure out how to support each other, how am I meeting your needs, how am I meeting my needs. And so it becomes very difficult to integrate and have everyone in a supportive environment because now everyone needs support. The whole family support. So I think that has been the biggest barrier. But at St. James, it's very interesting because we have such a different environment.
I reckoned when I was here.
Very different community. Everyone is very
I was here for 2 weeks, but I saw a totally different environment.
Like you accept someone as they are. So I think one of the biggest things that we will experience when our kids go into the world is how the world will respond to them because their world is them being accepted here consistently. But out there, it's very,
very difficult.
The world is rough.
This could be their best place to be.
Could be the favorite place, and they might not want to leave when we have to prepare them for what is out there. Because that life and that time will come.
All right. Moving on to the next question. So, how do these barriers impact your learners' self-esteem, participation in class, and relationships with their peers?
It varies. It varies depending on the condition. I find with our ADHD learners, sometimes depression hits, your mood is never consistent. I work on the senior side, so when puberty hits as well, even with neurotypical children, the moods are always
up and down.
So that affects learning. Then you've got when they go home and they're struggling to manage all the different tasks, and that's just I've got homework, I've got this, I've got that. So all of those types of things make it harder for them to sort of stabilize their mood. It does affect every now and again. Attention also, sometimes we miss something in class and you always have to go back and be like, okay, did we do this? Do we have this down? And all of that. Dyslexia as well is another condition where they struggle with their spelling. So writing is not always their favorite. But we're also in an educational system where it tests you by how you read and how you write. And so you can only understand how that challenge comes into the picture.
Yes, I can see.
And everyone at home is calling you a dofo. But that's not necessarily the case.
Not true at all.
It's not true. If I ask you what's happening in class, you can tell me word for word what's going on.
The challenge is in the writing.
The challenge is in the writing and in the reading. And then, of course, you've got the autistic side. And that one has a very wide spectrum.
It's quite wide.
Because you've got some who you can tell intellectually they're challenged with learning certain things. And so you always have to be on the ball and trying to figure out, okay, how can I teach you how to be in society? You're getting overwhelmed. How do you calm down? Just normal day-to-day life skills that you need. And then there's some that can pick up on subjects. Some very difficult subjects, the geography, the science, math.
They do so well in
They
them.
do so well in those things, but socially, they find it challenging to fit in.
Oh.
So those are some of the things that we bump into, and they find difficult as well. And some of the parents also find it difficult when they're in social settings and they want to hide that this is what's happening with the child. When the report can't come, or when they're in social settings and the child can't introduce themselves or can't keep up a conversation, or they're stimming, and you can tell there's repetitive behaviors. That's not like every other child that's in the area. But those are the main, I would say, those are the main challenges we have to deal with.
Okay. And also, can you describe any ways in which the school environment itself, the physical layout, the routine, the extracurricular activities, unintentionally exclude learners with hearing impairment or any other disability?
So exclusion in terms of hearing, it's very hard because I think one of the things that we've done very well is try to educate ourselves. This is the beauty of internet, and the beauty of passion as well. And that's one of the things that I found with a lot of the staff members that we work with here. One is the love of what it is that you're doing. The second thing is using tech to your advantage. So there are times where we actually are like, oh, okay, if I can't go into a sign language class, I can learn through YouTube. So I'm going to figure out how to communicate with this child, because we are in a system where it expects you to speak. And the assumption is that everyone can hear what you're saying. So it's very, very difficult sometimes, because now you have to find the happy middle. So some of the times you have to learn the sign language. I have to know if I say paper and you have to write, I have to make a sign that you need to write something. I think we've been also very lucky that the few, we've only had two that have had hearing impairment. One who's got an implant, and that has been very helpful because he's now able to communicate and hear exactly what it is that you're saying. But the other one was pre-verbal. And for a long time, family was in denial of the fact that he wasn't speaking. But it got to an age where he was now in his mid-teens, and I'm talking 16.
That's a long time without getting any assistance.
He never said
any intervention.
And the entire family was just in, okay, how do we communicate
with a child?
And I'm like, is communication only verbal?
No.
Even in Shona culture, if I just do this to my hands, I'm saying Magadi. I don't need to say something. So it was now having to say, okay, what signs and gestures does he have? Because I know he's got something in his arsenal. If he wants to say I'm hungry, there's a sign that he uses to say I'm hungry. And to reduce the frustration. It's us now having to learn his language, not the other. Yeah. So that one is taught me empathy to understand and to also be creative and be accommodating of what it is that the child is capable of doing outside of me coming in and saying, okay, this is what we're doing.
That's great. That sounds very interesting. You're doing quite a lot here. I'm learning a lot. Okay, so you're moving on to like an awareness and application of the social model of disability. So the purpose of this question is for us to understand the awareness of the social model and how it influences your teaching practice. So I'd like to know in your own words, what do you understand by the term social model of disability?
Social model of disability. I would love some explanation on that. School me.
Okay, so
is this a national one or?
It's actually something international.
Okay.
We have different models. Like the first one, they used to be the medical model. Which actually tells us that we just need to fix this medically. Yes, there is no other way we can help this child. Then the introduction of the social model said, no, what we need to do is fix our mindsets. Fix the environment. Have more awareness of what disability is.
So there's access.
So do we have any reasonable accommodations around it? Is the child who has hearing impairment getting what they want to communicate? Is the child with motor disability getting any devices they need for them to be able to move from point A to point B? So what it addresses more is of let's fix the environment,
Yeah.
not the human being.
Yeah.
Let's fix our mindset,
Yeah.
our attitudes.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that need to be fixed towards this special.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, coming from the background of sociology, environment is a very huge, a very huge factor. And we're not just talking about the family. We're talking about the church. We're talking
Yes.
about the neighbors. We're
Yes.
talking about the friends. There's so many communities that we are part of that we're not necessarily aware of sometimes. And like I said before, just that shift into Western mindset to a certain degree, where we're no longer very community based. People forget the Ubuntu side
Yes, yes,
of
yes.
things.
Yes.
And then it shifts to that model you were explaining, where it's a problem that needs to be fixed. Instead of let's accept, let's understand, because at the end of the day, any human being wants to be understood.
Yes.
So it's a very interesting question. I think one of the things that has worked for us here is we're very family based. It doesn't work without the family. If I give homework and it's not being done at home, it's an entirely the child's fault. You know what I mean? Like, who's there to support? If you have questions, who do you ask? So the home and the school have become one place. And one of the things that we did that was very successful at the time, and we hadn't done it before until about early last year, was home visits.
All right.
I want to understand what environment the child is coming from, you know. And it took a lot, because you can imagine there's been a lot of stigma, a lot of comments, a lot of mindsets that have been shared, and not in the positive light, very negative. And so it takes a lot for someone to invite you into their home, into their space,
Because of what they've had to encounter before.
Yes. And so for the school to have that relationship with the families to say, look, I just want to understand, so that when I know I'm saying this in a certain way, if you are saying it at home in this way, now I need to adapt, so the both of us look like it's one thing. They're not seeing differently. Because especially for a lot of autistic kids, routine matters.
Yes, it does. A lot.
If anything comes out of routine, it is a bad day. It's a bad life.
Everything is just shifted.
You know, and then that's when you get the meltdowns. And so it's been very important to have the two needs. It would be amazing to see churches also get involved.
Exactly.
Because there are a lot of families involved in churches. There's that spiritual belief of, like, if I'm anchored into something, surely, Lord, at some point you will answer my prayer. Or help me understand my child and connect better with my child. We've had good relationships with different educational psychologists, with different occupational therapists, with different physios, so that community is tight knit.
So you have to collaborate with everybody.
Everyone has to come together. That social thing of everyone with everyone's part to play being played well is essentially important for the success of the child. Because if one of us is out of sync, the whole plan is not going to make anything. The child is going to get overwhelmed.
All right.
And then it doesn't work.
All right. So, from how you've understood the social model of disability, is there any example you can give us of how you have to apply it in some way here at this institution?
I think one is the workshop that has helped. And we've also now built, we call it a coffee catch-up. So at the end of every month, we have the parents come and we just have coffee and talk about life. Nothing to do with, oh, your kid's great. No, just how are you? You know what I mean? And them getting to know us as teachers outside of being their child teacher, so that they also understand that, you know, there's so much sacrifice
that is being given
for us to be in the space that we're in now. And the two of us are collaborating. It's a partnership, you know. And sometimes with partnership comes with getting to know each other and our personalities and what ticks you off and what ticks your child off and why it works with me or doesn't work with you. And what, you know, so those things have helped the coffee catch up. So the workshops, getting different professionals to come on board as well. It's been nice to have designated people to say, can you do this assessment for me? I've seen your work and your report is great.
Oh, wow.
You know, I work well with you when you do your thing. So it's been nice to have that as well, having specific doctors that you deal with as well that are on call when you need them because they know now there's that relationship between James calls, they're picking up the phone and you get that instant feedback. So
That's
that has
great.
been, yeah, that has been
That's great.
amazing. And also, like I was saying, just those home visits.
They do help a lot.
Really help. It builds that rapport and you get to have a glimpse into what their life after school
Is like,
Yeah.
okay. And then our next question is, so to what extent do you feel your colleagues, like in school leadership, power and support the social model? What shows this exactly?
I think the mindset that has helped us is, in as much as we are teachers, we also are students. We don't stop learning. There's things that the kids have taught us as much as we have taught them. It's a learning environment for everybody, you know. And like I said in the beginning, it's never the same day. There's
Right.
always something different. So the fact that we're always learning, these workshops we do for parents are also done for them.
With the teachers.
So a week before we even start work, we have a week of just workshops where we sit down. These are the challenges we faced last term. Okay, how do we deal with it now? And we've got weekly meetings where we sit down. Is this teaching practice working? No, for this specific child. And it's very individual based. We also have educational profiles. So each child has a specific profile. If I'm not at work and my colleague needs to pick up my class, they can because each child, and they know this child doesn't like this, it works better when we do this.
Everything is profiled.
Everything is profiled. So it's to the T and it's very detailed. And so it's nice that we also have a community where anyone can pick up anyone's class. So from the junior side to the preschoolers to the high schoolers, all the kids know all the teachers and all the teachers
know all the kids.
So you can leave your students anytime.
So there's continuation and learning.
Continuation, and it doesn't ruin them.
I see.
So it's
quite admirable. It's quite
But the fact
admirable.
that we can do that is it shows that we've done so much work together.
I can see. Okay, so is there any training or professional development have you received on inclusive education, disability model, or how useful is it for your day-to-day work?
Yeah. There are internal courses that we've done. Our principal has been very kind enough to make sure that we're always up to date, especially with when things change in the world of special education. There was a point in time where they used to use a different way of assessing, and then it got outdated, and then they had to upgrade. And so each teacher knows now how to read an assessment report and instantly pick up what each child needs in the classroom to accommodate them. We've also done courses on how to support families.
Okay.
So counselors have come in and taught us, because sometimes consultation doesn't just deal with grades. You start talking about behavior.
Yes.
Those are some of the things that we deal with. And so how do you break that sort of news to someone who's already fragile? They've heard all this. Probably have gone to several different schools before they came in. And so how do you equip the teacher to be able to say, to create a safe environment where you can have those hard conversations and them feeling supported, but also not having things sugar-coated. Because I think sometimes that does happen, where you go to certain schools and they sugar-coat everything and make it seem like everything is great. But how do we talk about the challenges and assist each other in managing those challenges? And then a lot of us have been quite diligent in going outside of work and taking up courses outside of work. You know,
You're developing yourself.
and developing yourself because it's for the love of what it is. So it's been quite nice to see that, and people coming in and sharing. So in that week before work, we actually have a time where each teacher has a turn to share what it is that they learned in their course with everybody else.
All right, I see. Well, that's quite informative. We left about 5 minutes of our time, so I'll have to go through the largest part section.
No worries.
Just have to rush through it. So we're going to look at the impact of environmental-based interventions on social acceptance. So we like to determine how interventions such as sign language,
Yeah.
picture exchange communication system.
Yeah. Fix it.
Yes,
Yeah.
the peer mediated intervention.
Yeah.
How and I integration and integrate and accessible infrastructure
Mm.
influence learners' social acceptance.
Yeah.
So how has the increased use of those methods that and different modes of communication within the school, like in assembly,
Yeah.
staff communication, or peer activities,
Yeah.
affected the social relationships between all learners and every other learner around the school?
No. Okay. I think I have had a student who used to use the PIC system,
Mhm.
and it took a while for the other students to understand that
Mhm.
she could not communicate verbally, but she would understand through
Mhm.
pictures.
Yes.
So if you point at something that this is what she's looking for, this is why she's frustrated, this is what she needs,
Mhm.
and she had like a lot of sensory integration challenges, and so things could get very overwhelming very quickly.
For her.
So now we've managed to teach her boundaries. She knows how to ask. She needs a hug. She just needs a massage. Or she just wants to sit next to you. Because sometimes you ask, like, is this please taken? But she can't say that. So sometimes she'll point. And then you can say, oh, yeah, you can have a seat.
Right.
So she's learning those things. You spoke about sign language. We're all learning. We actually used to have a sign language teacher who used to come every Monday, and so some of the kids actually do fluently speak,
Right.
do sign language, so they're able to communicate with learners that don't necessarily speak. We've got students who actually come with a helper if they need to. And it's been quite interesting to see the relationship between the helper and the teacher. Because sometimes you also need to understand kids will be kids. They can be funny. They can pretend, oh, I don't need to do this today. So there are moments where you start to realize there's the child's personality and then there's the challenge. And you have to learn to separate the two. Like, this is not because you didn't understand, it's because you don't understand. So it comes with relationship. And I think when that is built and that is solid, it actually does help the learning process because they need to trust you and you need to trust them.
All right.
And then have that goal. This is where we're going. And you both can see where
you're taking yourself.
we're taking ourselves.
Okay. So what changes have you observed in learners' confidence or participation since accessible features like visual alerts, modified classrooms, caption materials, and symbols were introduced?
Happiness, contentment, being understood, and that shift in their mental health and that emotional stability of saying, okay, I found a place. People are not trying to change me, but they're
accommodating me.
They're making ways to, okay, this is not working, and they quickly shift. There's almost this immediate, like, okay, this is not the right road. Let's go this way.
Okay.
And they're also seeing you going through that to make those accommodations
for them.
That transformation for me has been incredible. And seeing that translate at home, where they now even try to communicate more at home because they're like, if it's working in this environment, surely it must also work at home.
Yeah. Okay.
But also seeing the two institutions coming together, home and school, it's also, honestly a recipe for success.
Okay. And then like so you may get instances where children will be children. They naturally tease each other.
Yeah.
So have you ever had any instance where there was an environmental change noticeably with just instances of teasing of other students?
I'll be honest, no. It has been more questions of trying to understand because they've never seen that before. Children naturally have the instinct of wanting to connect. And when connection doesn't happen instantly, they have more questions. Why is that difficult to do that with that person, And so you get more curiosity.
They want to know, how do I get through
to this person? I want to give them a packet of chips. Why are they not responding? That I want to give them a packet of chips. And so I don't know if it's because of the environment we've created, because teasing does happen outside of school environments. They go onto playgrounds that have nothing to do with it. Those things do happen. But Here, I would be lying. I would say more of curiosity of wanting to understand, like, why are they not responding the way I want them to respond. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then lastly, is there anything that remains missing or inadequate from your own observation
Yeah.
in the physical and communication environment that may continue to affect social acceptance?
That's a very interesting and heavy question.
If you're not comfortable with answering anything, then
No, I think it'll be more of it will always be the fight of inclusivity and understanding. That's what it always will be. I think now there's more of acceptance of things like autism or things like dyslexia or things like ADHD can exist, but there's still that arrogance of not in my family. You know what I mean? And so we will always have that fight.
People want to disassociate
Yeah,
themselves.
there's always going to be that fight. Try harder. The kid is always under pressure to perform.
You can do this.
You can do this. And things like that. But I think the more we keep talking about it, and at some point people forget we were there with HIV and AIDS at some point. And look at us now. We don't have the same conversation.
Not at all.
They're very different. They're very progressive. And I think that's always going to be the fight for us to always get to a point where this is no longer a conversation of, it's, oh, this is how this family is dealing with it. Oh, let's try their strategy. Oh, this is how this family is managing. And having schools be more part of the conversation, opening up mainstream schools to actually have the support. And not calling us special needs schools.
Yes.
The school is the school.
It's a school.
And so I think getting more teachers on board with the mindset of I can teach anybody, not just specific students, but anyone, whether they're neurotypical, whether they're dyslexic, or whether they're ADHD, and it should be compulsory.
Yes.
It's any teaching college for you to do exactly what it is that you're doing with your research right now.
So I want to thank you so much for the time. This was quite interesting.
Yeah.
We had